Well, do I really have to explain this game? Now I do know I promised a 500 sub and a Halloween special coming out, and I promised those two are still in production. Just expect them to be a little delayed. The main reason why I'm making this video is because the FNAF movie came out, and at the time we were reviewing this, a day has passed and I've already seen it. I'll pin a comment with how I felt about it. So I thought this was as good a time as ever to look back at the first game that was made by Scott Cawthon back when he was still working at a dollar store. I guess I should probably talk about Scott's past a little bit before going to FNAF itself. The truth is, Scott spent over 2 decades trying to get into the game industry before FNAF was even released, consisting of over 70 games. Now I won't go too deep into his previous games because most of them have been lost to time, and even the ones that have been archived are very simple. However, there was one game worth mentioning, Chipper & Son's Lumber Co. Now the game itself is nothing too special or even really fun, to be honest, but the reason why I bring this game up is due to the reviews it got, which were not great for the most part, with the main complaint being said by Jim Sterling was that the character designs, which were supposed to be cute, ended up being more terrifying than anything. At first, these reviews sent Scott into a state of misery. However, Scott decided to give development one last shot. He knows unintentionally terrifying characters. What if we made those terrifying on purpose? Enter Five Nights at Freddy's. At first, the project wasn't too popular, with only having a rage of the now retired Steam Greenlight system, with a trailer and a 2-night demo. However, there's one thing to take into account that we haven't talked about yet. Let's Players. Now, yeah, I am aware that people like Yami Mouse played it, but out of everyone who played it, there was one who had the biggest impact on the game. Markiplier.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Now, not to be totally unfair, Yami does deserve some credit as he's the one who told Mark about it in the first place. I should also say that this video currently has around 100 million views, which of course resulted in the game booming in popularity. Now, before I go into a long rant about the rest of the history of this game, all you need to know is that this game has had way too many sequels, spin-offs, books, merch, etc. So, with that all the way, let's get into the game itself. So the game starts with a newspaper article showing that a place named Freddy Fazbear's Pizza needs someone to work the night shift from 12 AM to 6 AM, and that they would get paid $120 a week for doing so. That is roughly $3 an hour. But despite the fact that's not even enough to pay the monthly rent, we sign up anyway. We also have a phone guy who basically tells us how to survive each night. He also gives us the slight lore tips here and there, and also ends up dying later on in night 4, so oops. I won't go into too much lore because fuck. The game theory playlist is almost longer than a day long, and you expect me to explain it all in 5 minutes? So it all starts with William Afton and his buddy named Henry. Afton was a dad, had a daughter named Elizabeth, a son named Michael, and an unnamed. Graphics themselves are alright for what they are. Nothing hyper-realistic, but also doesn't look something from a kid's game. The gameplay itself is, well, very simple, but also pretty enjoyable. You just have to watch the cameras to prevent the animatronics from going into your office. Even if this concept is simple, the idea is good. During this time period, horror games were more of just randomly scaring you instead. The idea of this game is that you have to do your job, and if you don't, then you get scared. This keeps the tension up as the player wants to do everything they can to survive, instead of just sitting around. Now, some animatronics act differently than those of which I'll go into now. For Foxy, you have to look at the Pirate's Cove camera and give Foxy enough attention, that way he does not break out of the cove. If he does get out, you need to shut the left door, and depending on how many times he gets out, he will drain your power every time he hits the left door. Freddy's mechanic is odd. You have to listen to his laugh 5 times and you can close the right door, I think. The reason why I say that is because even when I close the right door, he still manages to get in. I don't know if this is by design or if it's a bug, but it was sure was a thing that happened. He also attacks if you hit 0% power. This will result in you staying in the dark before the music box plays, and depending on some RNG factors, will result in your death. This can be especially tense at the end of night. As an extra, I may as well mention Golden Freddy. Though he is a very rare occurrence and doesn't attack often. In fact, I didn't even run into him when I was playing this game for myself. But basically how he works is he will occasionally enter your office even if you have both doors closed, and refusing to flip the camera back up will result in your death, and the game also crashing. Though there is one way to always guarantee a jump scare, and something I'll go on about later. Beating the first 5 months will result in a 6th night, which I did totally fairly, and did not use these funny keys on the keyboard to beat. You will also get an overtime check of $120.50. So, while we made it 5 nights, we proceeded to make in 6 hours. How fun! We then unlocked Custom Night, which basically allows us to control how active each animatronic is. Also, remember how I said that you can always guarantee Golden Freddy's jump scare? Well, he isn't in the Custom Night menu. However, raising numbers to say One Night 87, which is referencing the Bite of 87, will result in Golden Freddy's jump scare and it will crash the game. There was also a 2020 and 2020 mode, and while I have loved to play it for myself, I sure as hell wasn't going to beat it, so I just CD plussed it. And our reward for beating Force Ring mode is the fact that we get fired for tampering with the animatronics, which is fair enough, general unprofessionalism, and then odor. I guess I found that the office wasn't doing its job very well. So that was FNAF 1. It has definitely aged a little bit and not nearly as scary as it used to be, but there's no denying the impact the game had and still has. Arguably most modern horror games are inspired from FNAF in some way. I'd argue that this was a game that popularized indie horror genre, for better or for worse. Yeah, don't worry, I'll get to this one eventually. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.